Welcome to the Lovability Podcast. My name is Jennifer Stiers, and I'm here to talk love, relationships, sex, marriage, and everything in between. Hello, everyone, and happy Friday to you. I am here at the Lovability Show studios with my dear friend, Diana Davis, and she is joining us for her third show with me. I know you guys love her, and Diana's out in the dating scene, so she always offers some good perspective. So I'll tell you kind of how we eased into today's show and topic and everything. She inspires me as my friend to talk about things. So anyway, I hope you guys are all doing well. And God, it's just been a summer here in Texas. It is, over 100 every day. We're just dying. We're absolutely dying. But for those of you that are still out there trying to date in the heat, God bless you, number one. You're very, very brave. But we are going to talk about, as y'all are coming on, hello, Mary Lynn. Good to see you. Kelly, Elton, same suspects. Love you guys being here. You know what? I love that those of you that are joining us, how committed you are to, your growth. It's why I do the show is, that it's for you guys and for us to be able to share thoughts and ideas and perspectives with one another. It's a jungle out there. I get it. Kelly that's watching, Kelly's about to move to South Carolina. I'm super excited for you, Kelly. And we're going to miss you here, but very excited for you. She's moving out to Charleston. Isn't that great?
Oh, yeah.
I know. Totally jealous. It's really hot there too, Kelly. Hey, Brenda, good to see you. Welcome to the show. Glad you could join us. So today, Diana and I were talking on the phone the other day. This is how it all started. How so many things start. We were chatting on the phone the other day, and we were talking about happy hours. And she said, well, you don't mind me saying this?
No, go ahead.
She said, I reserve my happy hours for dates. So for the people, I forgot exactly how she said it, but
if I'm not sure that I'm going to like someone, or if I am skeptical about if I'm going to like them or not, then I don't want to give an entire evening of dinner and hours. So I just say, let's just do happy hour.
You don't want to be stuck with them, so you're committed to a drink and a drink only. Hey, John, thanks for joining. Hi, Cindy, welcome. So only a drink, and I hear this from you guys too, that you just want to meet for a drink. Maybe coffee, old coffee dates and such. You know what? If you have that many doubts about the person that you're meeting, you haven't done enough homework. And that's what I was saying to Diana the other day. I'm like, hold on. You're reserving your happy hours, your key time, which is my favorite time. I think everybody should be out meeting people. If you're single, the best time to meet people is happy hour. It's when you don't have all the intoxicated people that are out all night drinking up a storm. Unless you want an alcoholic, then, have at it. Go to a bar and find the drunk. But that's what you're going to find at a bar, late night. Somebody who's either intoxicated or there to pick up, right?
And you're going to be intoxicated.
Sure.
So you're going to end up picking up somebody that you wouldn't normally go out with because you have bad judgment.
Yeah. Beer goggles. I don't know what they call that.
Exactly.
Hey, Brent, Jenny Kaufman, good to see you guys. Gosh, we got some people joining. I haven't seen your faces in a long time. Great to see you. So anyway, so the best time is happy hours, and she's wasting them on guys she's not sure of. Why would you do that if you're not sure of them? If you think I'm not positive, if you're not excited about a first date and you're not anticipating, you have done enough homework on that guy or girl to know who they are, what you're meeting, some background, you've exchanged pictures on your phone, you've maybe done a FaceTime, you've talked on the phone, you've done enough background where you're excited about meeting them. Yeah. I mean, the meeting somebody is not about weeding them out. Meeting somebody is about making a connection, right?
Good point.
I mean, can you imagine how burned out, which all you are, so many of you are, you complain about being burned out in dating. Well, that's why you're not doing it right.
Yeah, and I mentioned this, but I have a friend who was actually one of the first guys that I met on a dating app when I got divorced 4.5 years ago or something. And he said, let's meet for coffee for 30 minutes. And I thought, why is that so strict? And he said, because I have met so many girls who weren't who they said they were when they showed up, that he's like, I'm not wasting any more money on dinners, on drinks, anything else. So he's like, we can meet for coffee for 30 minutes. If we have enough of a spark or conversation to then warrant going out for something else, then great. And so I called it the interview because it's kind of what it felt like. But at the same time, I understood because I think there's a lot of that out there with people who aren't who they say they are. But like you said, FaceTime, get on the phone. Like I'm guilty of not doing enough of that first also, and that would weed out a lot of that you don't need to waste your happy hours or whatever.
Absolutely. And you know what? That guy that did that, I mean, he's clearly not doing his work ahead of time, which I'm going to talk about today. Not doing his homework ahead of time. And the homework isn't just about the other person. It's not just about them. It's also about you. So many people aren't clear on who they are and what they want and what their non-negotiables are and what their must-haves are, that they don't even know when they've gone on a date if they've met their person. They may just have enjoyed their time, but they're not gauging it on whether that person could be for them. And that's what makes a connection, is when you know what you want, you know what you're looking for, and then you meet it. Then you know. And then there's some kind of connection, right? It may not be a love connection. It's not always, but a connection is a connection is a connection. So there you go. Gives you something to work toward. Hey, Barbara. Hey, Ted. Hey, Kelly. Hey, Christy. It's good to see all of you. You guys chime in anytime because Diana doesn't want to take all of the brunt of this. So let's talk about that. It's interesting. I coach on this stuff. This is part of what I do for a living outside of being a matchmaker. I'm a relationship coach and a counselor, and I focus on relationships, but that relationship may also be to yourself. And that's the very first relationship we should have. If we don't have a good relationship with ourselves, we can't have one with somebody else. What does that look like? That looks like knowing who you are, knowing what you want, knowing what your boundaries are, having enough respect for yourself to follow those boundaries. And of course, then there's always the other piece of knowing what you want and what you're looking for and what you won't settle for. And red flags, what your red flags would be, and identifying those. So there's a lot of work to do ahead of time. So you don't go and waste a happy hour, a good happy hour where you could be out with a girlfriend somewhere and actually maybe meeting somebody that's out for a drink after work because they're a hardworking, good guy looking for a great girl, which is you. Yeah. So anyway, that is the most important part, is doing the homework. Patrick says coffee date at Starbucks is mucho. What's that?
I think he means that's good.
It's good.
Bueno, not mucho.
I will say this. I don't think a coffee date is bad, but it's not a great first date, and it's because it's not a great investment of time. how long are you going to sit at Starbucks with all the stuff going on? How long are you going to sit at Starbucks and get to know somebody? You're not vested. If you feel like you could be wasting your money on somebody, and I've heard that from guys before too, Diana, there's no doubt, where they go, I don't want to waste a dinner, I don't want to waste my money. If you're wasting your money, if you have wasted your time and money on dates, you're not doing your homework. You're not doing enough work ahead of time to, number one, know yourself so that when you start talking to somebody and you're looking at profiles, you know whether they're for you or not, right? And you may see red flags on somebody's profile. And if you do, you need to have a conversation and you need to get to those and talk about it, right?
Well, I think that's the problem too with most of the just dating apps and stuff. They don't have really extensive profiles. So you're not getting very much off of the initial part, but it's up to you to then have that communication, that conversation, and get to know them a little bit more before you actually go out on a date.
How much is on your dating profile, Diana? How much do you have on yours?
I mean, I talk about having kids, what I'm looking for. I say something about what people would say about me and what I would say about myself, as far as like adjectives, descriptives, of what people would say about my character, and then what I would say about myself, and then kind of what I'm looking for, I think, if I remember
So yours
correctly.
says a lot. Yours kind of covers everything.
Guys are really short sometimes.
Okay, so this just
depends.
This is telling you everything you need to know right here, where she says they're short and they don't tell you anything. If a guy is really vested and interested in the dating process, he's going to spend some time on his profile and put stuff on there that means something.
Right.
If he doesn't, it's a waste of your time. I don't care how good looking he is.
Right.
I don't care, ladies. It is. I know two people. Hey, Jamie. I do also see people this Facebook dating thing, and a lot of people interacting on social media, Instagram and Facebook, and there is a lot of information. I think that's the upside of having each other's Facebook, is that there is a lot of information. I think there's too much information. I know with my matchmaking, I don't give people much information at all, because a little bit of mystery is great. Luckily, they have me to pre-screen. I mean, I can't recommend that with online dating. That could get you in a lot of trouble. But for me, I leave a lot of mystery because it gives people things that they get to learn and things they get to look forward to. They're actually exciting and anticipating because they don't know that much, and they've gotten my description, verbal description, they've gotten a picture and they're excited, right? We've talked about it and they're excited. Where you guys have got to get enough information so you know you're safe. So that Facebook dating thing is really interesting. But, ladies, I will tell you, number one, there's a lot of fake profiles out there.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
I've never done the Facebook dating. I think when it very first started, I hopped on it for like a hot second, and then I thought, this is not good. And there's enough people that slide into your DMs on Facebook and Instagram and all that stuff, trying to kind of do the same thing without going through the actual dating part of it. But I don't know, I stay away from that one.
Yeah. I definitely, again, I feel like you have a good source there, because you can look through and tell if the profile's fake, typically. Yeah. I just found one yesterday. Really good-looking guy. By the way, I did find out on one of these profiles, ladies, it was a woman that was behind this man's profile, and she was messaging women and getting women to message her back, and women are very aggressive, apparently. Wow. I don't know this woman. I just heard the story, but you never know who's behind the screen. So be really, really careful who you're communicating with. And if it seems too good to be true, because I've had so many of you say, well, what do you think of this profile? Does it look real to you? If you're doubting it, you need to stop all the games and the guessing and get that person on FaceTime. Demand a FaceTime or Zoom with that person immediately.
Yeah, it's just funny that you say that, because recently somebody messaged me on Facebook and we started talking, and I thought, I don't know if this is real. And he was very good looking, and I know there's enough fake profiles out there, and a lot of them, I always say, if somebody says they're from France, then it's fake, or Italy, or something like that. It's always fake.
Yeah.
But this guy kept talking to me and giving me all this great advice and talking to me, and I finally said, you know what, I just need to make sure you're real, so why don't you just send me a quick video saying, hi, Diana. so that I know that you're actually legitimate. I'm never hurt again.
Uh-huh. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
You can tell. I mean, just ask them to send you a video saying your name or saying something specific.
I know a friend of mine
Joke.
had a doctor that she was talking to. It was from a dating app, but it was a doctor out in California. You know? Yeah, he was fake. He was fake as could be. So, you know, you never know. You've got to do your homework. Is it, you know, it just like you would do it with online dating. All right, so back to point. Doing your homework, it starts with you. So make notes if you want to. Everybody needs to do this every once in a while anyway. It doesn't matter. Like when you go through a relationship, you've gone into marriage, you're divorced, you're separated, you've had a breakup. Everybody needs to redo this process because who you are changes in between relationships. So the very first thing you need to do is you need to do the long list. Diana had the short list on her dating profile of who she is. Adjectives that describe you. You need to know who you are. I usually make my clients do 100. And it's all positive adjectives, but by the time you get to about 25 or 30, you start struggling to pull them out. And that's the point where you can't cheat and go to the thesaurus. I know people that do that, or ask their friends or family. That's when you go, okay, who am I? Like, what do I stand for? Who am I? What describes me? And you have to dig a little deeper. That's the point where you're really coming up with the gems. The first 25 are kind of gravy. They're the obvious, and you may or may not be living by those anymore anyway. The ones, typically, sometimes the first ones that come up are very generic. So you've got to do the list so you know who you are. If you don't know who you are and you don't appreciate and respect who you are, nobody else can either. So it's the very first step of finding love is knowing who you are. You also have to know what you want. You know, you have to know what you're looking for, and that's just not in a particular person. That's in a partnership, in a relationship. What are you looking for? What would ultimately that relationship look like? What would you do on the weekends? How would he or she speak to you? How would you treat each other? What kind of things would you do together? What is their personality like? What do you feel like when you're with them? I mean, get really, really specific. Because what happens is the more you know about the energy of this person, when you meet them, you'll know. It's an instantaneous connection because you know. So the clearer you are on who you are and what you want, the faster you'll identify that even online. Even online. And you guys don't mess around with, there's a lot of comments I'm going to get to right now. Don't mess around with these people. I don't care if they're guys or girls, and I don't care how good looking they are. If they have no profile and they have nothing about them and there's some big mystery, they're playing games. If they don't have if they can't invest the time to do a good profile, do they really want a relationship? The answer is no. Okay. So didn't need to ask that, did I? You didn't answer that. Okay, Elton says there's not enough due diligence that one can do if you haven't seen the person in person. If the interaction was only virtual, it's not enough research. Therefore, a coffee is a must. No, a date is a must. Danielle, hey, Ted says, I always enjoy the company of a woman. It's not always a love connection, but I would rather enjoy the company at a nice restaurant or bar than a coffee house. I love that. Ted, that's a really great attitude also, because I think, also having that intention of an expectation of a person being a certain something. If you just go in with an open mind, I enjoy I'm meeting somebody new, and that's the way we should be anyway, right? Even if we're so excited and we know it's somebody great, we still shouldn't have that expectation up front. So you go in to enjoy somebody else's company. You could know in 3 seconds when you meet them they're not for you, but enjoy their company and get to know them, right?
Yeah, that's kind of the attitude I usually go in with. Is if nothing else, I mean, it's a friend or someone that I had a good 2 hours with. It was fun and enjoyable, and then
you go in with way too much of that attitude.
The only problem I was just going to say. I was going to say, unfortunately, on the extreme. So yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's you know what, less is more, because what happens, and it's not happening to you, I know you're having fun and you're a little burned out, but what happens is you get burned out.
Yeah.
You will get burned out from dating, and then you'll be coming to me in another month going, there's no good guys out there. They all suck. They're not who they say they are. They're this, they're that, because you haven't taken that time to put your energy and time into the ones that could be.
Right.
You know, it's way better to put your energy and time into something that could be. Identify your non-negotiables, your preferences, your desires. Get clear about why you're there. I mean, some of you aren't there for a relationship. Some people aren't.
A lot of people aren't.
Yeah, so be clear about why you're there. If you want a relationship, if you want to get married, if you want to have a baby, if you want, if you have goals in the next 3 years to have the love of your life, I think you should tell I think you should tell people you meet what your intentions are. Maybe not that specific, but
I was going to say, how do
maybe
you,
not that
I was like,
specific.
what is your opinion on that? Because I do have girlfriends that go into dates thinking, I'm looking for my husband. I'm like, that might be a little aggressive at the beginning. Like, don't communicate it that forcefully. But,
I
mean, I know you want to say, hey, I'm just having fun, or I just want something casual. That's one thing. Or, hey, I'm actually looking for a partner.
Yeah.
Like, that's a different thing. So,
I mean,
I think
if you
some women
want
go
to get
into it with-
married, that's okay. You're looking for a husband, that's okay. Just soften it up a little bit.
Right.
I'm looking, I believe in marriage, and I'm looking to find the person that I'll marry someday.
Yeah.
I mean, that softens it without going, I'm looking for a husband, or I'm looking for a wife, or I'm looking for a baby daddy, or whatever. So let's see here. So Brent says that's true. It could always be Herb,
the pedophile in Poughkeepsie.
the pedophile.
We were
Who's
talking
that?
about fake profiles.
Oh,
earlier.
Herb, the pedophile in Poughkeepsie. Okay, got it. Okay, sorry, Brent, I'm a little slow. I was drinking coffee here. Okay, Tina, adding value to each other's lives. Yes, exactly, and 100%. Ted says yes. So, Jamie says, I so love the idea of doing lunch or cocktails. It's not a date; it's visiting. I agree, and that is always nice too. Brunch or lunch is very laid back, and it's not as heavy sometimes as that dinner date. But you know what? You gotta invest the time. The ideal time for a date, believe it or not, is an hour. And that's really hard to do, especially in restaurant times if you're at a busy restaurant, because sometimes you're waiting a half an hour for a table. But the ideal time for a first date is an hour, everybody. That's just research, and that's just the nerd I am to share that. So we're clear. But that also says to you people that are out there, you're enjoying, I hear this from you guys so much. We enjoyed each other so much. We hung out for 3 hours talking. Too much. Give them something to look forward to the next time. If you have a great connection, cut it off at a certain point, an hour, hour and a half, and set a second date so they have something to look forward to. Because if you're on a 3-hour date, at some point, one or both of you is going to go, oh my God, it's been 3 hours.
So, okay, I have a question then. So if you're on a date, well, first of all, some people don't even relax until an hour into it because they're so nervous or whatever. But also, after an hour and you say, oh, gotta go, or if you tell someone ahead of time, look, I only have an hour, because I have to do something else, or, if you kids, you can always use kids as an excuse. I have to get my kids later, or I have to be home for my kids, or.
Right.
But then people sometimes take that as you are kind of already setting yourself up for not having fun, and so you're giving yourself an out. So I've had guy friends tell me that before. Diana, if you say you only have a certain amount of time, that's just because you have something else planned afterwards, or you're giving yourself an out.
I have never heard that go over well.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hear guys especially, that's something they don't want to hear up front, is that a woman has a limited amount of time because they feel like they're being played.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. So if you say the ideal time is only an hour, so then how do you go about communicating that you need to go after an hour? You know what I mean?
I had a great time. I've had a long day. Let's do it again. I would love to, I'd love to continue the conversation, but it's been a long day.
Okay.
And yeah, I'm ready to go home.
Okay.
Yeah. Or whatever it is. I mean, at that point you could say, you know what, I need to get home to my kids, and check on them tonight, and or whatever, but just you can kindly and let them know you're interested in seeing them again.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
just have to make sure you let them know that you definitely want to see them again, or.
So here's what I would say, if you have a hard time telling somebody that you've got to go, then you should definitely, which is one of the other things I was going to talk about today, it's important. I think a lot of people are where you are, because here's what you don't want to do. People don't want to hurt somebody else, and they don't want to have that awkward conversation, but that's a boundary. And so you really want to get good at your boundaries of setting those boundaries. It's okay for you to go home. It's okay for you to only stay an hour.
Right.
It's okay. You can do whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
Know your boundaries, right? So, and then adhere to them. I mean, we went out for a drink the other night, and I was committed to a drink and going home. And what did I do? I had a drink and went home.
You didn't even finish it.
Yes. Yeah.
But you had a long day.
But I had a
you
long
said
day,
it.
and that was my boundary, and I stuck to it because I was honoring myself. And it's okay to honor yourself and what you need. And so just remember that as you're not backing out, you're not letting them down, you're honoring yourself and what you need, right? Different perspective. Does that help?
Yep.
But it's a great question because I hear it from women more than men.
Right.
Because men typically don't have an issue with, that whole situation. Where men don't have boundaries is in when they don't like a woman. They don't like her. They like her as a friend. They don't want to be with her. They have a hard time. They don't want to hurt her. So they'll either ghost her, bad,
Right.
or keep seeing her knowing that they don't have any feelings for them. So guys, that doesn't work. I mean, I think this is the other part of knowing your boundaries, which is one of the other things I would tell you to set at the beginning. Know your boundaries and your red flags. So you've got to know what your red flags are. It could be somebody who abuses drugs or alcohol, right? You'll know that pretty quickly when you meet them, right? Mm-hmm. It could be somebody that doesn't respect you and other people. So you know how they are with the waitress and with you, and right? So you can see with their interactions that they're not respectable people. It may be that they're a bad parent. I mean, how many times have you heard?
Big one.
Yeah. I mean, somebody starts a conversation and, maybe they've got kids and they haven't seen them in, 2 months or whatever. And, they're just not good, right? So you have your red flags ahead of time. That's what your first date should be about is getting to know each other and talking about and listening for those.
I think red flags are a lot easier than the boundaries part. I mean, clearly I struggle with the boundary part.
Everybody struggles with the boundary part.
But I think it's harder. Like you said, people don't want to hurt each other's feelings or hurt someone's feelings. Or I think, a lot of times people end up, like I know I've been guilty in the past of spending time with people who I know I'm not going to date long term because they're fun or it's fun. It's good enough for right now, but then I'm not leaving myself open to meeting the right one at some point. So.
Yeah.
But the red flags are easy.
Interestingly enough, that's on my list to get to today is people that do that when we were actually starting the conversation where we talked about going in for the right reasons. I mean, if you know you don't like somebody and they're not for you, you're hurting them by continuing to date them because they may like you, right? So you have to communicate honestly. So you don't want to hurt them. And just because they're fun doesn't mean, that's wasting your time, that's wasting their time. And then you think you could be meeting, how long, and we've all done it, how long have you waste your time with somebody, people do years sometimes. They know it's not their person. And you've wasted years of your time when you could have met the right person, Your perfect person could have been there, ready, waiting. God could have sent him, but yet you were preoccupied with Mr. Fun or Mrs. Cutie Pie, drama queen, right? So let's see. Just to get to comments. Jamie says, I want it to start off as a friendship. One can never have enough friends, so believe in meeting people of quality. Ted says Jen is
We're
smooth.
smooth.
Smooth. Annie says, hi, Diana. Thanks for the invite to this. Lots of good insight and advice. I have to drop. Okay, wait. Okay. Brenda says, is it okay to desire a relationship? However, establish if you want to get, hold on a second. Is it okay to desire a relationship? However, establish if you want to get remarried as the relationship progresses. Establish if you want to get married. Absolutely, Brenda. You definitely want to let them know if you want marriage, or if you don't want
I was gonna
marriage.
say, yeah, or the opposite, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, talk about it. I think we should. I think we should all remain open. I know. There's people that don't necessarily. Maybe they've had a marriage or two, and they may not think that marriage is absolutely necessary. Maybe they lost their ass in their previous, divorce. I mean, it happens.
Yeah.
And then they're like, I'm not going to do that again.
Yeah.
Never say never. If you meet the right person, it's somebody that you trust and love, you never know where you might be. So, but if you want that, if it's something you want and it's important to you, you better state it up front. There's a boundary, because down the road, you're still going to want it, and then you have a really hard choice to make, right? Interestingly enough, I had a friend of mine who was dating a guy who had kids, 2 girls from a previous marriage, and she wanted kids. He was like 48, and she was 28, and so she still wanted kids, and he couldn't have them anymore. Like, he had fixed himself. So she broke up with him. She actually broke up with him. She said it's a deal breaker, and it was after they've been dating at least 8 months to a year, and so they were already in love with each other. And then why she waited and why they hadn't had this discussion, could have been a deal breaker, but she decided to be with him anyway and put aside her need and want for her own children. She was a great stepmom and never had kids, and they're very happy. They're actually very, very happy. So she gave up on something that she wanted, and she's not resentful of it. However, you could be.
Yeah.
You could be. And so, I talked about this last week. It's really important that you set your intentions and let your intentions be known up front. But that's also not putting somebody on your timeline. If you are a young lady and you want to get married and have kids, and you're 37 and you think you got 3 more good years, and you're trying to push and shove to get a courtship and everything in, and have time with your person before you can get married and have a baby, that person's going to feel pressure, and that doesn't work either. So, you've really got to get things in perspective of, if your biological clock is ticking, you may need to put your biological clock, if it's getting to that point, you may need to put it on a back burner, because it's more important to have a great relationship than it is to have children
100%.
in a bad relationship.
Right.
Yeah. And there are plenty of those. Okay, so we were talking about dating intentionally and showing up. And people aren't willing to be uncomfortable to break up with somebody, or to say you're not going to go out with them if you're not interested or you don't want them anymore. Boundaries are really important, and somebody's going to respect you more for telling them. And you should tell them. It's really important to communicate to somebody that why you don't want to see them. And it's okay if you're not feeling it. It's okay if they're just not the person for you, if you feel like you have too many differences. But to leave people with questions, it's almost hurtful to ghost somebody and to leave them with questions as to why you're not interested. Tell them we're big people. Right? We're grown-ups. Tell them why you're not interested. So staying with a person longer than you should, big mistake. Letting somebody go improperly is not good karma.
It's not. I was just going to say, we're all guilty of it.
Yeah,
too.
It's not good integrity. It's not hard.
Yeah.
I've never ghosted anybody in my life. I mean, why would I? Why would I disrespect somebody that I respected enough to go out with, but disrespected them to not tell them how I felt, you know? I mean, if that's where you are, you're not putting enough into your dating. You don't respect yourself enough, and you're not putting enough respect into your dating life, into the people that you're going out with, because they're human too, you know? And there's probably not anybody on here that hasn't been ghosted before.
Or hasn't done the ghosting.
Or hasn't done the ghosting.
At some point.
Yeah. So, well, I can say I've never been ghosted or done ghosting. I haven't, but
You haven't been on the dating apps.
no,
It's a whole different world.
no, and I wouldn't.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, folks, but I wouldn't do it. And, you know, I'm going to say this too, because here's a big dating mistake. Why are you guys on there? I mean, why are you on these dating apps? You know who they attract. You know the amount of money people spent to get there, or if they're on a free account. People, you read their profiles they're non-existent. They're not vested at all, financially, emotionally, physically. They're just not vested. Why are you wasting your time? Your best use of your time is to go out and meet people, network with your friends, get introductions, meet people in person. Go to happy hours. I always say it's the best time to meet people. Go to happy hour from 4:30 until 7 o'clock is probably prime time for meeting other quality people that are there just to relax, continue a conversation with a coworker after work, blow off some steam, have a drink to relax, out to have a drink, and then go home and be responsible, right?
Yeah, and we also talked about, too, changing up your patterns, too.
Yes.
Don't just go to the same places, every single time you go out, don't go to the same places, you're going to see the same people.
Yes.
It's that whole definition of insanity.
We just were
The same
talking
thing
about this
over and over
before the
again.
show. I mean, you guys in big cities, you've got a million. If you're in a small town, you're limited.
Yeah.
You're just limited. If you're in a big city, and let's just use DFW as an example, you people in Dallas don't go outside of Dallas to date. You people in Frisco stay in Frisco to date. I mean, sometimes you need to move around the city. I mean, we've got Fort Worth, which I get, it's a drive. Thank God we have Uber and stuff, right? If people are drinking. But we've got Fort Worth, we've got Grapevine, we've got Plano, we've got Frisco, we've got the Colony, we've got Dallas, we've got Deep Ellum, we've got, what's the arts district? What's that?
Bishop Arts?
Bishop Arts.
Did you say Grapevine already?
Yeah, there's
just come to us.
all these cool places to go. Get out of your comfort zone, right? Get out of your comfort zone, because you're more likely, number one, to meet somebody different, and to stop your own patterns because you're not in the same place. If you go to the same place, you see the same people, these people that are a big fish in a little pond, right? You like to go to this club because everybody knows you, so you feel important. Well, get outside where you're not important. Go find a place where nobody knows you and you get to meet new people. That's how you meet people. Yep. Break out of your routines. Ted says, I've never done a dating app either, but I've dated people from Facebook and Instagram. Yeah. I mean, I think the social media platforms offer you an option, because I know on my page, I've had people meet on my page and get married.
Yeah.
I mean,
because people see what other people comment on your posts, and they think, oh, that guy's really sweet. The fact that he's commenting those kind of things makes me think that he actually is self-aware or emotionally secure, and then you think, well, actually, I want to meet that guy. So you have a lot of really good people on your
and so my page is a place where people can meet. That's where singles go. They comment. You can see. Ladies, I will tell you, and gentlemen, I will tell you, people know that. Men and women know that. So you have to be very discerning also, because they could be commenting something just to impress you.
Right.
We've seen that.
That's true. Well,
Yeah.
and I have a question for Ted too. Is it that he's dating people on Facebook and Instagram through the dating, part of the platform, or is he just seeing people on there and then sending them messages and saying,
I'm
hey,
sure
because a lot of people,
he's just seeing people on there.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
I'll
because
answer
that
it for
happens
him.
all the time, and I think
Yeah.
it's what you were saying earlier. It's a little bit dangerous because people can kind of see, they can get an idea of who you are by following your your social media.
Yeah.
And so then they get an idea of who they think you are, and then they want to meet you. But then a lot of times I think it's a little, I don't know. I'm skeptical of that personally.
Well, here's the other thing about social media and why some of you are still single. Your pages are inappropriate. You know, they're not going to attract anybody that wants to meet a quality person. So,
Not going to attract the right person.
Yeah, you have to be, I mean, if what your page is an accurate reflection of who you are, some of your pages, you need to be looking at what you're posting. You know, half naked pictures of yourself in bathing suits, or you ladies, your little tiny dresses. You know, guys look at that and they think she's easy. I'm sorry, but they are like, she's hot, she's easy, I'm going to sleep with her. And then you complain because you can't find a relationship because every guy wants to sleep with you. Well, change your social media page. Stop posting those things. Stop positioning yourself as a sex symbol, right? You've seen it.
Oh, yeah. But I think that there's just some insecurities there, too, and those people are needing that validation or the compliments or the whatever. And so there's a whole different,
and guess what? People know
there.
that, too.
Yeah.
People know that, too. So these people that are putting pictures up to get attention, people recognize that that's why you're doing it, and they know you're not healthy. It's not helping you. It's helping you getting you attention, but not the attention that you want, right?
Right.
So that's sad. That's sad. I'm not going to get into that. I could really.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It's a whole other show.
But I know, but you can tell a lot from somebody's page. What you see is not always what you get. Social media is social media. People can put anything on there that they want. I know somebody that puts pictures of beautiful places and expensive cars and great meals and great hotels and homes, and they're not
them getting on a private jet.
Yeah, they're not theirs. Yeah. And so, and everybody's like, wow, that's great. That's not theirs. And so when you're not portraying yourself on social media or in person as who you are, people are going to figure it out. That's not authentic. People want authenticity. That's like the big thing now. Authenticity is where it's at. Men more so than women are looking for that. And ladies, I want you to hear that, all you ladies that are listening. Guys are looking for authenticity. Yes, they love beautiful women. Yes, they love to look at hot women. But at the end of the day, what they want is a real woman. They want somebody, if you are hot, to show up as exactly that hot person, right? Unfiltered, as that person. But people are going to figure out who you are. And if you're unhealthy inside, you look great on the outside, but you're unhealthy on the inside, nobody wants it. Nobody wants it. Guys don't want it. Girls don't want it. So you got to get healthy. So it doesn't do you good, especially you men and women that are attractive, that are attracting people. If you're not healthy on the inside, you're going to miss out on really great people, because somebody great's going to meet you and be like, oh, they're perfect for me. They sound great. We've got a lot of things in common. I'm attracted to her or him. And then you meet them and you're like, they are not healthy. They're not smart. They're not interesting. They're not who they portrayed themselves to be. And you've just lost your chance, right? So don't date before you're ready. Don't date if your timing's off. Maybe you are unhealthy. Do the work first. Don't date for the wrong reasons. You were talking about just to fill time or because you have fun with somebody. It's great if they're in the friend zone already, if you have fun with them, but don't keep dating them because they're somebody fun to spend time with. Yeah, be honest with them. Okay, so if you don't know what healthy love is, this is a tricky one, everybody, and this is really important. This is one of the reasons why so many people don't find love, because you're not healthy and you don't have an accurate conception of what love is. You're looking for the wrong thing. And so many people do. They're looking for adventure, spontaneity, fun, this, that. And at the end of the day, what we need What our soul needs is somebody that we connect with, somebody that is a friend, that we have a friendship with, somebody that we feel safe with, right? Someone that's easy to be with. And so we have to be looking for the right things. That's why you have to know who you are and know what you want, but you've got to be healthy. If you're not healthy, you're not going to be able to find love or be in a healthy relationship. So it's super important that you're healthy first. And I think the other sabotager in that whole, emotionally healthy thing is, we were kind of discussing this ahead of time, is people that don't feel worthy. They haven't done the work and they don't feel worthy of a good relationship, or they don't feel worthy of a great guy or girl. So they stay with what they have, or they go for less. They stay with less.
The love they
because
think they deserve.
Yeah, this is all I'm going to get, Yeah. Or some of you people in your 50s or 60s that go, oh, I'm not going to have another chance. This is my last chance at love. That is a bunch of crap. This is a big world, and there's a lot of people, different age groups to explore. So you want to make sure that you're going into it healthy, you're not settling, you're standing by your boundaries, you're recognizing red flags when you see them, you're getting rid of people, just lovingly dismissing them when you see red flags, right? And I think the other piece I want to put in this, because I think this is important, because I'm always talking about giving people a chance. If you like somebody and you have a good time with them, on a first date, you should always go on a second date, because a second date is going to tell you one of two things. Definitely not. Or, oh my God, I didn't see this on the first date. I didn't really like this person very much on the first date. They were cool, so I thought I'd go out with them again. And then all of a sudden this love connection develops, or this something connection develops on a second date. So it's going to go one of two ways, but you should always give it a second date.
Yep, I agree.
Yep. Now, if on a second date it's not there, and I'm going to say, I think that I would give different advice based on a situation. If you still really like the person and there's something you're still attracted to, and there's some kind of connection you have, you should probably stay with that. You may not have chemistry. I know I've heard you people talk about, well, I'm not attracted, I don't have chemistry. Chemistry is one of those things that you can't predict. It may not show up till you kiss the person, and we've talked about that. So you can't predict chemistry.
Oh, especially when a lot of people end up with their best friend, right?
Yes.
So for years you were best friends, you had no chemistry.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden now you are super attracted.
Listen, one of my clients just went home for a wedding, and same thing. She's known this guy for years. And her best friend is married to his best friend, or just getting married to his best friend, just got married. And then they hook up at the wedding, and they've always had boyfriend and girl. They never saw each other in that light, and now they're together.
Yeah.
I mean,
that to me, that's ideal. Like that would be wonderful, a wonderful situation, because you already know who the person is.
Happens all the time.
You're great friends, and then at some point that spark hits, and So, I don't know that that's happens a lot, but
yeah, no, it actually happens a lot more than people think. Some of those,
maybe I need to hang out with better friends so that I fall in love with one of them.
Some of those connections too, previous connections that we make, whether it be somebody we knew in high school or college, or childhood even, some of those connections are so strong because there's a familiarity there, and they end up progressing really quickly. So I've told this girl to take her time, like really take their time, because you already have a level of intimacy between you, emotional intimacy from knowing them for so long, that you really just got to take your time and because you're getting to know them in a different light. But sometimes chemistry can sneak up on you, which is a great thing. So just because you're not attracted to somebody, you can be not attracted to somebody and still have chemistry with them. Crazy. Yep. It's true. But people do have patterns, and When we don't respect ourselves or we don't feel worthy, we're going to attract the wrong partners. So it's, or unavailable partners. That's another way for you to know that you're not healthy and you need to get some work. If you keep attracting unavailable partners, whether you're a man or a woman, something in you isn't healed and available emotionally. You need to do the work. Take a little bit of time. It doesn't take that much time to get a little bit of coaching. It just doesn't.
Okay, I have a question on that really
Yes.
quickly. So I know you're saying people need to do some work if they attract unavailable partners, but you can't help who you attract. Or I mean, who is attracted to you, I guess I should say. In the sense that, not that you are going to pursue it, but I mean, I can tell you there's a lot of married guys out there that are hitting on single girls. And I don't think they all need to do work. So what do you mean by that?
Well,
You go ahead.
if you want my honest answer, yes, John, Diana is still single. She is single.
Thanks, John.
So here's the thing. If you are attracting unavailable people, and ladies, that goes for you attracting married men, one of two things. You're either unavailable, you are unavailable somehow, some way, whether you see it or not. Or number two, they can tell that you don't respect yourself enough to have boundaries to set with them. So they will approach you knowing that you're not going to set a boundary with them, even though they're married.
Very fair.
So, and that's some tough love
Both
there.
of those
but
those are
yeah,
those are
but
very fair.
it's true. If a married man that's going to cheat sees an easy target, he's going for it.
Well,
So
I think I've heard a lot of girls say in the past that, that have maybe given into something like that, they would actually say, oh, it's safety and distance. Like, I don't have to commit to anything.
Yeah.
And so I've heard girls say that before.
yeah,
Makes
yeah.
sense.
And yes, and the sad thing is that there are a lot of people that will date married or unavailable people.
Oh, yeah.
Because they're unavailable and it's okay with them.
Yeah.
And married people know that.
Yeah.
So that's why boundaries are so important. Knowing who you are. When you have strong boundaries, I promise you will never get approached by a married man.
Well, and I think girls don't realize, too, that if you really think about that a little deeper, married men that are trying to date single people are very selfish. So they're getting their cake and eating it, too.
Yeah.
And so if you look at it that way and think, hold on, that's a very selfish way of living. So why am I giving in to someone,
Yes.
like that? So
And
anyway.
ladies, don't buy into the story. Some of these married guys will say, "Oh, I'm so unhappy. We haven't been in love."
Cliche.
Yeah. Then get a divorce.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Then
sir.
call me.
Go get a divorce, sir. Not that married women don't do it too.
yeah.
Hate to say it, but you guys do it too.
yeah.
So, if you don't respect yourself enough to not cross that boundary, boom. Okay, so Mike says your energy attracts like energy, regardless of that energy is good or bad. It's 100%. You are attracting them. And, I'm sorry, John asked, how is Diana still single? I don't know. She has not met the right one yet.
Working on it.
And hanging out in the same places.
Yeah. I
Darren,
always say I have some good advice, but I don't always follow my advice. So.
I'm going to make sure you do. Okay, so Darren says a buddy was joking about the picture of gals on private jets and made the comment, I wonder what she did to earn that seat on the jet because that isn't her plane.
It's a good point.
God, and just be leery of if people are posting a lot of pictures like that. You should know that if you're seeing somebody that's posting pictures of them on a yacht or a private plane or whatever, they're presenting a facade. They're letting you, they want you to, that's important to them that you see them that way. That's not a person, if you're looking for an authentic, real relationship and somebody who respects themselves and has boundaries and is looking for the real thing. Sorry, but probably not. Unless, of course, they're jumping for joy, saying, I've never been on a private plane. This is my friends.
Yeah,
they're being honest about it.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I think the other thing, since we're running out of time, I think the last thing I would say that I've said before, and I'll say it again a million times, keep your expectations at bay. Get your head out of it. Everybody get your head out of it. You're meeting a new person. When you meet somebody, you're just meeting a new person. Let it flow and unfold as it's supposed to naturally. Don't label it. People want to label things. Oh, he's for me. He's not for me. You never know. You never know. If you're enjoying somebody, keep enjoying them, right? Just follow your intuition, your gut. Get out of your head. Don't put an expectation on it. Don't demand that people text you when you want them to text you, call you when they, ask you out in a certain amount of time. All that stuff takes time. And the older we get, the more stuck in our ways we all get. So you have to give the other person time to kind of learn you or for you to learn them. And let's just say somebody asked you on a first date and then they want to go on a second date, but you haven't heard from them in a week and you're like, oh, they're not interested. But then they call you after that or text you and say, would you like to go out? Don't say no because they didn't contact you or waited too long. Go on a date if you like them and you want to see them again, and then talk to them about it. You can even make a joke. Oh, I thought you weren't interested. I hadn't heard from you, and I was super excited about seeing you again. And I just thought I would have heard from you before, but I'm thrilled that we're here, to make sure that you're not putting them down, but talk about it because men want to please women. Ladies, you're the ones that are mostly in your head, by the way. But men want to please you. So if you can just bring these conversations up casually, give the guy a break, right. Give him a break. He's not you. He can't read your mind. He doesn't know what you want. We have to teach each other how to love each other and how to court and how you like to be courted and treated. So that's why it's important that you know your boundaries, you know what you want, you know what you don't want. You know how to spot the red flags right up front, because the clearer you are on who you are and what you want, the red flags show up instantly. And then don't entertain it any further. Then you're not wasting your time, right? Get out different places, different people, different times. Shake it up. Online dating, until I'm blue in the face, we could talk about this. Everybody, what is it, 1% of people maybe meet their partner on there? You're wasting your time. How much time are you wasting? Yeah.
People get on and off all the time because it gets so old. And so then you're never going to meet the right person on there anyway.
And then your attitude changes, because I hear it, that you're burned out or you don't believe people anymore. You've met so many liars and cheaters and whatever that you're now skeptical. And that doesn't work. So get off. We're not in lockdown anymore. There's no reason you can't go out and sit at a park, take your dog out to the dog park on a weekend, go out and sit somewhere. Well, I shouldn't say that. God, we're in Texas.
Go to Torchy's and pick up some to-go food.
Torchy's is everywhere outside. It's like 103 degrees outside. But really get out and go places. And most of all, enjoy your life, because if you're happy with who you are and with your life, you'll also attract the right person to you. So it's not always about the search. You don't have to be on a mad search. Sometimes you can just enjoy the process of being single while you're single, and know that God's going to send you your person, when the right time is, right? And I'll say, if you're getting older, God is going to send you your person, but he's not going to be like knocking on your door. So you have to do things a little bit.
Have to get out of your house.
Yeah, you have to definitely put a little effort into this, whatever that looks like. So, talking to friends, going out places, hiring a matchmaker, whatever it is, you got to do something about it. You can't just sit there and expect that, like I said, it's going to come busting through your door, unless your ideal guy is or girl is a UPS driver. And Jamie says, avoid the self-promoters. You know what? I love you guys. What a great comments today. Loved having you on the show. I will see you guys in 2 weeks. Hopefully it'll be a little cooler then.
Doubt it.
Much love. See you in 2 weeks. This is Jennifer. Thanks for listening today, and please subscribe to the podcast. Each show, we're going to have new topics and information. If you'd like to find out more about coaching or matchmaking, please go to my website at lovegen.com, or you can find me on my Facebook page, my personal page,